Okay, we started. Yeah. Once again, I mean, we did it informally before starting recording already. Welcome everyone in person, but since this is a podcast recording, also to everyone who is listening to this afterwards or consuming this in any way, shape, or form, depending on how we decide to post this afterwards or publish this afterwards. I'm Charlene. I work for Flux Forward in marketing and communications. I myself am a psychologist. I'm German, but I grew up in the Netherlands. And I'm welcoming you. And I'm here today with.
Ben, should I say something else?
Oh, I think so. You could introduce it. I mean, everyone knows you, but maybe people who listen to this outside of this circle will not know you. So we keep other audiences in mind as well, don't we?
This episode 40 is a little bit weird for me, frankly speaking, because a few weeks ago we were talking to ask you to join as a guest. And I had a plan, I myself or one of the other team members, I mean, interviewing you as a guest. And during past 2 months, we had kind of negotiations, and finally we found that wow, it's time you are joining as one of the essential team members at Flux Forward. And I think 2 3 weeks ago we were talking about episode 40 as kind of achievements to celebrate it. And I told you it reminds me about my decision around 2 3 years ago when I experienced kind of midlife crisis when I was 40. And you mentioned, so it's a good idea. Let's switch our role. I'm acting as kind of host, and you can join as kind of uh, guest, and connecting these two moments together and maybe sharing something related to some pivots within the ecosystem, because now officially Flux Forward and Benu Community, both of them are part of the Futures Hub. And now we are here.
Yeah, and today we put you in the spotlight a little bit after you having put so many other people in the spotlight. So yeah. Um but yeah, thanks for being so open to doing this. It's yeah, uh definitely a first for me as well. I've never done a podcast. I mean, I listen to a lot of them, but I've never recorded one myself. So this is also very interesting for me. And I just very much trust in the ability to edit things out later. Yeah, I mean, you already touched a little bit on it, but I think, I mean, most people who are currently live here already know this, but who knows which corners of the internet we're going to reach, right? So why don't you, Ben, explain a little bit what the Future Sub is and how all the other things you just mentioned, like venue community and Flux Forward, fit into this?
Uh, Fortunately, now you are here, Hiva is here, Majid is here, and also there is other essential team members within the Futures Hub. And unfortunately, Alex is not here because he's technically busy with something else. Uh, but the point is, the Futures Hub. Frankly speaking, 2 3 years ago, as I said, I had no idea that maybe a day I'm standing behind my kind of fake standing desk and talking to you.
Oh, we don't need to tell. This is we'll edit that out.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's part of this journey.
And
Because today I had the plan to be somewhere else. Because of the rainy weather, I decided to stay at home. Simple and easy. But the point is, exactly 2 3 years ago, I had no idea about moving to a new country north of the Netherlands, living in Groningen. I was kind of anti-school. I had no plan for, I mean, joining any other. program at university because at that time, and still in a way, I'm thinking joining a program just for, let's say, a kind of certification or stuff like that. It's kind of waste of time. But in less than 6 months, I just experienced midlife crisis. And I was thinking, okay, what the hell I want to do with the rest of my life? Uh, that was a long story, but long story short, we thought, okay, let's embrace a new big challenge, a struggle in our life. I mean, I myself and my family. In less 6 months, I just decided to apply for some programs in Germany and in the Netherlands. I got some admissions. I decided to join a program here at Hansa University. And it's another story, but I mean, for coping that midlife crisis, we just decided to create another crisis for ourselves. Meaning moving to a new country, joining a master program. However, between that decision and joining that program, I joined another program. After months, I decided to switch from international business and management to international communication. And engaging with the startup ecosystem here. And after graduation, I found Majid. Majid is here. And we decided to join to start the journey. In the beginning, we just wanted to work on Benu community and Elevate. And I'm not sure why, finally, we found ourselves in a situation for establishing the Futures Hub as a venture studio, developing different ventures and initiatives, focusing on the future of learning and work by empowering people and organizations. We consider ourselves as kind of a pan European ecosystem, but for now, our main focus area is just the Netherlands. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to like because there are a couple of company names that will be brought up, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same wavelength. So you also mentioned Elewave and Venue Community. Maybe in a couple of words, you can also shortly describe what they do. Um,
Um, Personally, I started my journey and our journey, Timo and I, with the Benue community 4 years ago when we came back from Malaysia after pandemic to our country. We had kind of idea for establishing a community of digital nomads internationally, but because of some reasons, I don't want to go for details for now. We found if we want to continue our journey in that way, we need to, think in a different way. When we moved to the Netherlands, we have pivoted the idea to a community for international students. And the point is, we just had kind of side job at the Benue community, which was the Benue podcast. And we just started by chance asking some people, okay, it's a good idea to record episodes sharing your experience, insights. In a simple way, without editing, without anything, without any idea. And now, Benue community is not a community-driven initiative. It's more kind of a storytelling and media lab within the Futures Hub. And it's kind of, let's say, a sense-making engine for sharing insights, interviewing with thought leaders, entrepreneurs, future thinking, the people who already moved to a new country, sharing their experience and stuff like that. You mentioned Elevate. Majid is here because originally, he coined the name of Elevate and he started that journey. And it's a nice story we have together because we both moved 2 years ago to the Netherlands and we had no idea about each other. And just few months ago, we found each other. However, we met each other 10 years ago. And Elevate is specifically focusing on regenerating and providing the content and educational content within the companies by focusing on micro learning solutions by delivering those courses via the Slack. Just in a one sentence. This is the second one. The third one is flux forward. I say nothing about flux forward because you are here. Later on, you can explain more if you want, because you are the main, person who is responsible for communication and stuff like that. Maybe you can explain better than me. But I'm happy that I'm working with you, Alex and Tima. And this story between Alex and I is a different story. We can share it again because by chance we met each other at TNW conference and the Agora. I like the Agora. Uh, because I didn't mention 25 years ago, I started my journey in the academia by joining a program as a bachelor at university, study philosophy. And Agora was a space, Socrates walking and talking with young generation that was kind of open-ended discussions. And all the time I was thinking how I can use that concept Agora somewhere else. And a few months ago, we talked with the team and we thought, okay, it's a good idea to focus on running some small gathering. Within the Agora, we started to focus on serendipity moments, some moments that people connect and building kind of human centric experience and maybe building something together bigger, more meaningful in the future. And now we consider Agora as kind of movement, which is the Agora movement. And if anyone interested to learn more about whatever we are doing, we already shared more details on the website, thefutureshop.com. But before moving forward, maybe it's a good idea you mention something about the flux forward. And if it's fine, because you are the host, I want to ask Majid to share something related to elevating more details if you want.
Yeah, of course. So I would say the idea about the elevate come from the pain, but the main thing was that I felt the company, the leadership in any company, they want something good out of people, out of their employees, out of the team, whatever it is. But to reach that goodness, there are so many frictions that they put in front of that employee, that person. And it can be in any concept. So the mindset I I thought about it was how can I remove all these bad frictions basically in a way that helps employees to get to the content, get to the learning, get to the knowledge faster, easier, and it requires just rethinking everything. So for me, it was a mix of many books that I read, many concepts on nudge framework, and these kind of concepts like frictions, like good and bad. The mix of all of these with my experience became Elevate in a way that I thought, well, like any project or startup, what if there is no past mindset and this new concept delivers the knowledge in the flow of work? And it can be for anyone, anywhere, but for employees, usually inside the stack in the company. So that's the core idea behind it.
Thank you, Majid. John, and I want to flip the coin and asking you to say something because I'm happy that you're working with us, including you and Alex Boss, I mean. And you recently joined us. And as I said, we had a plan to interview you, and now you are interviewing me. Uh, what's the story of the Flux Forward? Because Flux Forward is exactly focusing on one of the main pain points that some people, same as us, are struggling with.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just FYI for everyone listening, watching currently, Alex is the co-founder of Flux Forward, but he's also my husband. So that's some might call it nepotism if that also works for spouses. But anyhow, that's how I landed here. Um, yeah. So what we focus on is, and it's really interesting. Quick anecdote right away. I just had a talk today with a student of someone I met in one of the agoras, like his daughter, and she was mentioning herself that she was trying to find a job in the Netherlands after having studied, and she was asking me for advice because she studied exactly the same as me at the same university. And she was saying the job market is horrible currently. I cannot find anything. I would love to be a psychologist, but in the Dutch market, there is just no space for me. And I think that boils it down really well to what we want to do. We want to help people coming from other countries who want to start their life here or after studies, to connect them and help facilitate the process of finding and connecting them to business, to companies, and find their career path, more or less. Am I putting it right? You can always add something, Ben, if you have a different understanding of it. But yeah, in general, it is really like connecting people uh, and helping them in a professional sense so that they can find their job, um, or at least better know how to navigate the system in the Netherlands, because it is not easy. And I feel like it is kind of a bit of an issue of our time currently as well. A lot of things fall into that. But yeah, especially now more than ever, something is needed to help people. I mean, it sounds maybe a bit corny, but people come here with a dream, right? Like, you go to the Netherlands and you have a certain idea of it, whether it's like pink cloud dream, but it can also be just small things like having more stability, financial, having more social equality. And then they come here and you have all that big system and you really don't know what to do. And yeah, that's kind of what we try to do. And I feel like to segue a little bit into the topic of this podcast is very much also what we are talking about today, right? Because that is the funny thing. What we in our last couple of talks, like meetings, noticed is we are everyone working for Flux Forward are the exact examples of this. Like, we are living through this. We have lived through this. So this is what we wanted to focus on today as well. And I feel like most of you guys who are listening to it, like either right now live or later on in whatever medium you're consuming this, um, most likely will have had a similar situation as well. And I feel like this gives a very unique opportunity to connect and to help each other, right? So that sense of community is something that we find very important in these senses. And something we also very much noticed is whenever I moved somewhere, I went again on Facebook, like something my grandmother uses nowadays, and she's 90. But you download the Facebook app just to find your community somehow of expats or foreigners living in the city in the Netherlands you want to move to, or wherever other country. I moved to Brazil and to Norway as well in the past. But to be fair, I mean, who wants to use Facebook nowadays anymore? I'm sorry, Mark Zuckerberg, but that's true. Um, let's find a different way of doing this, and especially for professional skilled workers, right? Like people who are really like also trying to continue doing what they love doing because they worked really hard for that in their home countries.
Frankly speaking, in the beginning, Alex and I, all the time, we discussed about some other concepts. Since I'm really into futures literacy, and Alex is probably, I mean, fan of and really into systems literacy, we were talking all the time how we can position Flux Forward as kind of future-oriented entity for, I mean, providing some labs, helping other companies to understand these two concepts and stuff like that. And that was interesting because suddenly we found, wow, there is another point. When you are focusing on just the theories, however, it's really important and it's helpful, but at the same time, you need to address if you want to make it tangible and let's say concrete, you need to address some real problems that, for example, people can cope with them in a better way. And that was the moment we found we have one similarity that at least Majid, I myself, Timo, Alex, even you, because in a way, however, you worked here, I mean, you lived here for many years, but still you are not a Dutch person. You moved to the Netherlands from another country, however, not far from here. Uh, and when you are moving somewhere else, it's kind of crucial experience, kind of transformation. I mean, um, after that midlife crisis, when I ended up in Groningen, suddenly I asked myself, what did with myself? Because, at that time, I didn't know even one person in this city. I had to, at that time, build everything from the scratch. I mean, even some people knows, even maybe and others. In the beginning, my real name is Mohammed Najafi. But since I was busy with Benu community, some of my friends started by just as a joke, call me Ben. The first three letters of the Benu.
To be honest, I always thought it was named after you.
No.
But last week when you explained to me that it's actually the other way around.
No, the point is, yeah, that was kind of joke in the beginning. I mean, after a few months, some of my friends at universities in the startup ecosystem told me it's easier to call you Ben, and you all the time talking about Ben community. Why we are not calling you Ben? And that was, interesting for me at the same time weird because, for 40 years, I had kind of different identity. And then I was communicating with people and step by step, and after a while, I found even my friends here more know me via this name, not the other one.
But it is in a way as well, right? When you move to another country, when you speak another language, like every time you speak another language, and there's science behind it, that you take on a different personality. You speak in a different pitch. You speak like sometimes slower, faster. You use a different vocabulary. Like even if you would translate it one on one, you become a different person, right? Do you see that with yourself? Like, I mean, you already said with Ben, but in other
Yeah.
aspects of life as well.
And another interesting point I can mention, few people here maybe, or the people who later on listening to this episode knows what Benu is. Do you know? You know, but I have no idea.
Yeah. Like I said, you told me last week. Before I thought it was just you.
Yeah, frankly speaking, 4 years ago, Tiwa and I was thinking about choosing a name for the community we wanted to start building. And we were thinking, oh, Phoenix is a nice, name. But the point is, you can see the Phoenix everywhere.
True.
And we just started to, yes, search and we found Benu as the name of a bird, same as Phoenix in ancient Egypt. And it's kind of symbol of rebirth and recreation and something like that. And few people know about that. And we just decided to choose this name. And after a few months living in Groningen and also in the Netherlands, my new friends started to call me, why you use your name for calling your business, And I said, no, this is another story. What I want to mention is when you are unfreezing your life, uh, moving to a new country, struggling with new culture, learning a new language, and lots of other things, uh, you are experiencing kind of chaos. And even sometimes you are losing something in your life. Sorry, wait.
Ben is shortly out. But maybe I can open the room. I don't think there were any questions in there right now. Oh no, Ben is already back.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention after this kind of experiences, kind of transformative experience, which is really painful. You are also experiencing kind of chaos and you are losing the time kind of, thinking about your identity. Sometimes, as I mentioned, maybe your friends in a new context start calling you with a new name. And 2 days ago, we had a session in Amsterdam. Alex was there, and the facilitator asked us to mention about our job without mentioning the official title within our, for example, company. So now I'm the CEO, co-founder, and ecosystem gardener at the Futures Hall. I call myself ecosystem gardener. And over there, I just mentioned, okay, I feel I'm the gardener of chaos. And, I'm considering myself as kind of octopus. trying to think about different arms, including Agora, Venue, Flux Scoreboard, Elevate, and some other stuff. And sometimes I think if I haven't moved to the Netherlands and I haven't experienced that chaos, it could be almost impossible to deal with this kind of, diversity, working with different people, different initiatives.
Do you think this was a product of your in inverted commas midlife crisis, or was it more of a distraction from it? Because it's like so much, and I can imagine that. Like I just wonder how that fits in with having that crisis of what do I want to do, and all of a sudden it's like so much, and you say it's like a lot of chaos. How does that fit in?
Um, I'm not sure if I had any answer for your question, because um, in the futures literacy, usually we are talking about how it's important to just enjoying the ambiguity, uncertainty, complexity, dancing with those ones, embracing them, and focusing on the flow, and let's say being open for the futures, not future, and let's say um, emergence.
Mm.
Meaning, when I decided to move, when I decided to start my journey in the Netherlands at that time, I had no idea about this future. And I have no idea that it's the product of that experience, or it's kind of collective intelligence between Majid, Alex, Tima, you, and others. We have built it together. But what I'm just trying to do within the Futures Hub is just moving forward by trusting each other. I mean, today, for example, we had a very, I have no idea how to explain it. Majid and I have a harsh discussion together about some stuff. But the point is, um, we found that it's really important just to move forward together. Sometimes I'm trusting Magic in some parts. Sometimes he's trusting me. Sometimes Alex same. I mean, I know sometimes, for example, I'm getting tired because of the way Alex is working, and the same. Alex is sometimes he's crazy about me. "Hey, what the hell are you talking about? This is not the way. Maybe sometimes you are experiencing that kind of stuff. But that collectivistic approach of building something together and trusting together and just moving forward for unfolding the things happening within our journey is one of the main feature of the futures, how I think.
Mhm. Yeah, but I can imagine that it's on a personal level sometimes not so easy because we humans strive for control, right? We love to be in charge of situations and want to steer ourselves towards the future. How do you reconcile
I'm still learning.
that? Yeah.
Maybe it's a good idea to mention something else right now. Few minutes ago, I struggled with the concept of serendipity. The point is, for example, I just started communicating in English when I moved to the Malaysia. And at that time, in the beginning, I just communicated with people based on my body language. Because for first 38 years in my life, I never ever communicated with people in English. Meaning, I'm fast thinker in Persian. Even in Persian, my native language, I'm talking so fast. And and the point is, for 10 years, I was journalist. I studied philosophy, meaning sometimes even maybe the words I'm using is uh, kind of unfamiliar words for others. And then imagine when you are starting from the scratch, when you are almost in your midlife crisis in different language and experiencing these kind of stuff. Uh, uh, it makes you crazy because sometimes I have some ideas in my mind, but they are running and I cannot catch them for sharing. And that's why, I mean, communicating with the team members, building a community, recording those episodes. I mean, those experiences in the beginning was kind of same experience I had because I'm fan of bungee jumping.
Okay.
I did it several times. And the experience of recording 10, 20 episodes at Benu podcast in the beginning in English was kind of the same experience of bungee jumping for me. And it makes, the collaboration and the dynamic of team collaboration within establishing your company, a company that it's not, for example, purely a tech company, for example. You need to convince people, building community, networking, I don't know, negotiating and stuff like that. Um, Personally, I think if I didn't jump 2 years ago and moving to the Netherlands, maybe I never ever could do something the same right now.
Mm. Yeah, it takes a lot of bravery, I guess, right?
I'm not sure. Or maybe, enough being crazy enough.
Yeah, I do see that too. Sometimes it takes a little bit of naivete, maybe, of like just ignoring how much it takes. It reminds me a little bit. I mean, it's nowhere as big as what you are building here right now and what you've done. But when I moved to Brazil, I started studying in Rio, and I just signed up for a psychology course there, and like I was doing my bachelor's, and yeah, figured out that the entire course was in Portuguese, but I didn't speak a word Portuguese. So I had a month's time to learn enough Portuguese to study psychology at a bachelor's level. And I did. Um, Probably worse than I mean, there was like a really funny experience, which is maybe similar to giving a podcast out, doing podcast recordings. Luckily, less well spread out, but I had to give a presentation about a research I had to do myself in Portuguese in front of a class of 40 people, and it was an hour long. And they were definitely very much feeling really sad for me, and just knew that I was in over my head very, very much. But yeah, it's when I reflect on that time, it's also very tiring, right? Like you have to constantly translate in your head, and you constantly are busy with so many different things, and you always feel a little bit like a little child. Do you have that too? Where you feel like, oh, I could be so well spoken right now. You just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I gave lots of lectures, I mean, running different labs and stuff like that. I mean, I'm talking about hundreds of uh, gatherings and workshops and seminars and stuff like that. And, in the beginning, I expected to act in English same as my previous life, let's say. And that was bothering. And maybe Tima already raised her hands as to be, yeah, she already, I mean, observed and engaged with both versions of me. Maybe she want to add something. I don't know.
It's behind the scenes of Ben.
Yeah, hello again, guys. Thank you for having me. Um, Before sharing my thought with you guys, I just wanted to mention now after introducing Ben by himself, we can imagine how difficult can be living with him. So please keep cross finger for me first of all. We can continue in the midlife crisis and having a boy uh, at the beginning of the teenage. So just back to the point.
Um, uh, it's not, it's not as difficult as you mentioned.
Okay, let's see. Okay, when any discussion or any subject goes through the transforming, or the things that already been mentioned, crucible experiences, I can understand myself, and I really want to talk about that because it is part of my job and part of my journey, even in my career path and as well as my own life. So I've come to see transformation as something deeply non-linear. It doesn't follow a clear path. It's some like a dance. I mentioned dance because I love dancing. Everyone around me knows that. So especially in my session, one-on-one session, coaching or mentoring, I use dancing a phenomenon to explain some concept. So now more like a dance between losing and finding yourself again and again. It's horrible. Sometimes it's scary. But at this stage of my life, I learned that actually I'm not sure it's finished, but I'm learning transformation isn't about becoming someone new, but remembering who I've always been, and allowing that truth to take, let's say, take new shape over time. The word over time is really important because of the dozen of the factors. Maybe the factors is out of our control. For example, for a woman, as you know, physiologically, after 40 you face with so many problems. Reaching my 40s has made me see how nonlinear this nonlinear transformation really is. It happens through our relationship, as Ben mentioned, our pauses, and the courage to begin again, especially about moving to Netherlands. So now I've experienced transformation in very, very different nonlinear ways. My journey has taken me from, as Ben mentioned, living in Malaysia, surrounded by cultural diversity and completely different, even in climate, to returning to Iran after the pandemic, where I spent some time, we spent some time in a small village. It was a very unique experience. Then moved back to the capital in Tehran. And later we faced with a lot of historical things happen in Iran. And seems like we don't have any way to continue rather than moving to another country. Migrating again to Netherlands felt like a kind of reset to factory again, starting over in a new context with new rules, new language, and new ways of belonging. And especially this belonging is really important. Sometimes you can imagine. I miss my mics that I usually drink caffeine, or I miss all the things, symbols of my country that I already bought in the different cities that we travel, and I put in my um, room. So yeah, it's difficult. It's ups and downs. And nowadays I haven't been, and I can't even see myself in a like stability part. And I believe there is no stability, at least for us. Working, just for the last part, and working within Flex Forward has been part of that transformation that I mentioned, learning to navigate collaboration, creativity, and identify in a new culture and professional, what we call this, landscape. While raising my son, who's new stepping, as I mentioned, into his own transformation as a teenager. So it's a new transforming for me and Ben again. So it's been a continuous dancing, as I mentioned, between adopting unlearning and rediscovering what truly matters.
Yeah, I'm seeing, yeah, thank you, Tima, for sharing. Um, I'm seeing a question from Stasia. She was asking whether stability and transformation are opposites. Like probably for you, it was probably directed at Tima. I'm gathering, or at everyone. But Tima, if you want to resonate first, you can start.
The point that I wanted to share is, see, this is difficulty comes from the language.
Mm.
I wanted to express something different, that although transformation and forming point of view in this world, it should be part of our POV. But for us, some of us, I talk about, um, for example, Iranian people. It's we won't be able to expect for the exact stability, just like, let's say, Netherlands people, something like that. This is not my target actually, because it's not real. In a realistic world, there isn't such a thing. So I prefer focus on transforming and look at the problems and issues and any struggling from this lens.
Yeah, I also feel like because I mean I I mean you guys did a lot already. It's very impressive how much you moved and what you've achieved along the way. It also, in my opinion, takes a lot of resilience from your side to be able to take so much to do and to change so many things. Um how's it for you now? Like if you look back on this, like is there pride or is there things you would have liked to do different?
Oh, Ben is smiling. Sometimes the feeling is, to be honest with you, is full of regrets. But sometimes, yes, I proud of ourselves, because as I try to see the world like Ben and imagine about the different scenarios for the future, so I can copy this view for the past. So it can be even worse, or yeah, it can be even better. But this is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, just taking things the way they come, right? I think that's what Stasia wrote before as well. Like going with the flow. And I mean you, Ben, said it as well. It's very
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
For everyone listening, Stasia wrote that into the chat. I'm just picking it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about myself, my personal point of view. When Stasia mentioned stability, I already mentioned when you know, I'm not a good dancer and I'm not interested in dancing at all, but I'm trying to dance with, I mean, ambiguity and uncertainty, as I mentioned. Stability in a chaos world is, I mean, there's no meaning for that for me. I mean, because in an ever changing world that's everywhere, every time, you can expect kind of, let's say, black swan or something happens in your life and, unfreezing everything, looking forward and thinking about flux forward, the concept we are focusing at flux forward. It seems we need to uh, not focusing on learning kind of a specific skills, whether hard skills or soft skills, transferable skills, but maybe kind of competency. Meaning, as you mentioned, maybe being anti-fragile could be really important. Resilient, uh, agility, flexibility. I mean, collective intelligence. These kind of stuff, even sometimes, could be more important than just thinking about, okay, I'm awful in communicating in English all the time. I'm talking about that. And the point is, sometimes even when I'm talking with my son, he's mentioning, how you are talking English. And recently he started to mention also, even you cannot pronounce the few words in Dutch properly. I know that, but the point is, it's not about being native in another language. It's more about how you are putting yourself in front of kind of not challenges but struggles, and then say, okay, I'm still alive. You know, um, the last time I jumped from one of the highest bungee jumping in the world, 280 meters. And I struggled with myself for more than a year to convince myself to do that. You know, uh, but sometimes it seems when you have no idea what future holds for you, you just need to trust in the flow, in the emergence, and maybe your support system. 6 months ago, Majid and I discussed about how we can move forward by joining together for running our business. After 2 weeks of discussing and sharing more details together, I can remember exactly I was in the same spot here. He mentioned, okay, maybe it's a good idea. Think less, talk less, and do more. Let's jump. And we just jumped. He's here. He can share more details if he wants. But the point is, sometimes over planning is just, wasting your time or even your inner strength. Or I don't know, maybe exploring some new eras in your life. Sometimes you just need to close your eyes and just jump and trust the flow. Uh, I'm not sure. This is my point of view, but maybe Majid has another, let's say, story for sharing. Majid, would you like to say something about 5 months ago if you want?
But yeah, I guess you well said. I don't have much to add, but basically, the main thing is you cannot predict the future, and if you're always holding yourself back and thinking too much, you wouldn't leave your, I guess, like your parents' apartment. So that's the way. I just move forward. From my experience, I just move forward to different cities, to different countries, and it became pretty easy for me. So then that's becomes part of my mindset. Hey, let's move forward. Let's see how it goes. And sometimes you need to trust. Otherwise, you're just holding yourself and everyone around you back, basically.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not true, but I was just thinking, I mean, because maybe of having moved to another country and having jumped so many times already, maybe it makes you more open for these kind of things to dare to make these big pivots also in a professional life. How do you think about that?
Maybe, or maybe I just was lucky that still I'm alive. I'm serious about that, because uh, then you are coping with some struggles, crises in your life because of any reason. And I'm not just talking about specific reasons, I mean. Uh, you know, most of the time, as a kind of human being, we expect to control, to manage everything by ourselves. We are more thinking about transition, not transformation, meaning it seems like we know, okay, this is point A, this is point B, and I want to manage the future by planning to move forward and, reaching out to that point B. It's nice, but I'm not sure if it's possible. The point is, when you are standing here, okay, even if you know where you are right now, and even if you have kind of idea about that specific future, still you don't know what you don't know. And you have no idea what happens within your journey. And sometimes something simple can change your life, your way. I shared this experience a few weeks ago in another session. I want to repeat it again if it's fine because you weren't there and also most of the people here. Um, 1.5 years ago, I just decided to join the TMW conference. And I got kind of offer 50% from the municipality here in Groningen, and I just decided to register and join. 500 euros at that time was a lot for me. Still it is. But I was thinking, okay, it's a good idea. I have to give a chance to myself to explore more, to engaging with different communities, connecting with different people. Over there, I just exploring the TNW conference app, connecting with other people, sending some message and saying, okay, it's a good idea to have a coffee chat and stuff like that. And as I remember in the app, also it provided the phone number. I sent a message to a person via the app and he didn't answer. And I'm not sure he or I myself, after a while, just called and said, okay, I'm around. If you are interested, let's talk. And he came to uh, the spot I was there, and we had kind of short chit chatting, uh, following each other on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And for almost a year, we had casual coffee chats together, talking together. And after a year, that week tie converted to a decision for working together. Now, officially, Alex and I are co-founders at Flux Forward. And at that time, I was thinking, why? Why I pay 500 euros for nothing? And now, looking back, I see that was kind of a spot, opened a different, let's say, timeline in my life. For example, connecting with Alex, talking, discussing, and finally building Flux Forward together.
Yeah.
And now you are here because I paid that 500 euros.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what you were saying earlier as well, saying that transition and like transformation are two different things. And what I was like reflecting on a little bit, that like also from what you were saying, that it takes a lot of decisions you have to make, but also in my opinion, and that maybe is the psychologist talking out of me right now, it is a lot of changing yourself and the way yourself maybe see and do things, or um maybe like confronting a lot of biases you have, or a lot of inhibitions. Yeah. See, like trying to like not just transition your outer world, but very much yourself as well. I feel like you can only experience those things if you yourself grow as a person. Usually it's growth, I would say, and not the other way around, because then usually we're stuck in old schemas.
Um, it's a chaos. It's a combination of, internal and external incidents. And, uh, mm, recently Alex and I discussed about sense making,
Mhm.
and the concept of sense making, meaning, okay, sometimes the things don't have their meaning. It's a phone, but it has lots of meaning for me because in past 4 years, from Malaysia to my country, then moving here, uh, everywhere, I worked with this phone, you know, and the meaning it's bringing in my mind and connecting to some stuff is kind of sign for sometimes referring to some weak signals that can help me to bring my imagination about future in the present. Because, I don't want to say the problem, but I'm 42, 43 years old, and it's time I'm looking back and saying, for example, in past 20 years, I have experienced this and this and this, and based on those experience, I just, projecting them to the future and try to, predict the future and saying, okay, based on my past experiences, if you are doing something like that, we can reach out to that point. But in past 2 years, specifically when I learned more about futures literacy plus, I'm a big fan of stoicism. And maybe some people knows about them. I found it's easier just close your eyes and close your mouth and just say, I have no idea, I don't know. Let's figure out together.
But let me be a little bit of a devil's advocate here. Um, out of my experience, very no, but because of having studied psychology and having practiced actually as a therapist, usually we're not really good at that, right? Because we are emotionally very much, even though we feel like we might not be actually thinking of past experiences, they do shape us emotionally, and they do shape our decision making to some degree, even though we might not be actually so aware of it. We're never really a tabula rasa, are we?
That's right. That's right. That's why I said it's too difficult. And that was kind of battle for me for past at least 2 years to try to, let's say, harvest my imagination
Hmm.
towards future. And sometimes you need to try to be crazy enough to think different. Uh, I don't know, even finding some kind of role models in your life for acting. One of the role models for me within developing the future self, and all the time we are discussing together, is not any specific person. It's octopus, you know? And this is one of the metaphors within our ecosystem, how we can, let's say, develop kind of distributed entity uh, in a long run, not just, micromanaging everything by, for example, the central team. And each person or even each entity can act by itself, same as the arm of the octopus. But in a way, it's also connected to the central brain. You know, for example, the octopus, uh, the zebra, I'm talking about those four metaphors we are referring all the time within the ecosystem. Starlings and the jazz music. These four ones are really important for us. You know why? Because, for example, in the jazz, it's not about right or wrong. It's about how the collectivistic approach between the people who are playing something is happening there. And even if one of them is, I mean, taking any kind of mistakes by playing the cello, others try to convert it to kind of, beautiful piece of music or something like that. Meaning sometimes maybe we need to think in a different way and maybe find something different to clone them in your daily activities. And that's why when I'm talking about enjoying of chaos, because it helps me, to put myself in the shoes of, for example, octopuses and think if they are, instead of me, how they are making decision in this specific situation.
Yeah, so it's the power of community you're living to, right? Like the community we're trying to build, we've got, but we're trying to grow obviously and to foster, which is like what you do, like you the community gardener.
Uh, of course. Uh, in the beginning when I started to communicate with Tima, with Magic, you, with Alex, I'm happy that each of you are thinking totally in a different way. You know, uh, the main point is I'm working with some people that almost none of them are thinking same as me. And this is maybe the main superpower of the future's hub. Some crazy enough people who are thinking differently, trying to work together and collaborate together and co-shape the things together. And I have no idea about the future, or let's say about futures, but at least for now, what I'm enjoying a lot, I'm struggling with lots of stress. I mean, you can see something is getting white, and uh, even sometimes I cannot sleep very well and stuff like that. But still, that kind of pain is kind of pleasure for me and kind of joy.
Yeah, that's I was just looking at the time and I was finding it very funny to end on this note. Um Although I do hope that we can support you in not having to take that pain and like live further in that pain. Yeah, especially from a mental health perspective, we definitely want to alleviate that as well for you. But that's a different conversation for another day, maybe also not in a podcast episode. As far as I remember, we wanted to talk about that next week anyways. But yeah, I wanted to round things off. I just saw that there was another message in the chat. Yeah, it was just about thanking for sharing stories, and that's exactly what I wanted to do as well. I wanted to thank you, Ben and Tima, for sharing your stories, also Majid. It was a really nice talk. I really enjoyed this, and I hope everyone else enjoyed this today as well. For everyone joining in the live chats, this is not over. We will stop recording in a short while, and we can actually all talk with each other. For everyone listening, thank you very much for being here, to listening all the way through to our voices. And I hope there were parts you could reflect on and identify yourselves with. If that's the case, we really hope that you continue listening to us and that you might want to even connect with us. We do have socials. On Instagram, it's Flux Forward. Also, we're on LinkedIn if you would like to connect there. The futureshub.com is the futureshub handle. Yeah, we'd love to connect with you. If you resonate with this, if you would like to keep up a conversation, we're always welcome and open for that. We love that. Yeah, and hopefully till next time. And for everyone else being online, please stay online. We just stopped the recording. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.